Good evening and welcome to the September 18th, 2019 legislative session of the Town Board. I'll officially call the meeting to order. I'll ask everyone please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Cole is absent. LaFountain.
Here.
Metzler. Here. Moore.
Here.
Quinn is absent.
Okay, the first order of business tonight is the budget officer's message and information presentation on the 2020 tentative budget. So this is a presentation of the tentative budget to the town board and to our residents. As you'll hear from our finance director, that this is actually on the website, and we'll be holding a public hearing on October 2nd, at which time we'll take input feedback. Tonight, the presentation by the budget director doesn't come with a Q&A session, but if anyone in the audience would like to address the board, they can do so at the public participation session, either at the beginning of the meeting, before resolutions, or afterwards. So with that, I introduce Barbara Churto, who is our finance director, to give the board and the community an overview of the tentative budget.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. And as you indicated, this is an overview of the tentative budget, of our budget for 2020. The details can be found in the document that is available on the website as of now. So before I really get into too many details on the town budget, I just want to point out that of all the tax dollars that are paid by the residents, the town actually receives the smallest portion of your tax dollar, accounting for approximately 8%. Given that we give and provide all the day-to-day services that so many people rely on, be it plowing the roads, paving the streets, taking care of our sanitary sewers, the fact is your monthly cost for town services is less than most people pay for cable and internet. So that's just a kind of interesting little fact. For next year's budget, the tentative budget is proposed to be $20,671,392. That's an increase of $411,786 over the 2019 adopted budget. This is actually, as far as the resulting increase to the levy, is just over $60,000, so very minimal increase. And I wanted to make a point of letting you know that we're actually $500,000 below what New York State would allow us to have for an increase to our levy. So we're below the tax cap rather significantly. As far as how the budget is actually broken out, the budget dollar itself, given that we are a service-oriented place, the majority of the budget is allocated for payroll and benefits. And then we also have contractual expenditures. And then, as you can see, the equipment and capital outlay, that's actually increased by 2% for next year. So we're putting more money towards our infrastructure and equipment. And the debt service portion of the budget is actually decreasing by 1.6% from 2019 to 2020 as we pay off our existing debt. So that's going in the right direction as well. As I spoke, the equipment and capital outlay is increased. It's actually $2.3 million for next year. And that appropriation includes things like heavy equipment, which in next year will include a large plow trucks, sidewalk tractor, a loader, 6 light-duty vehicles, so also sidewalk improvements and computers, so quite a few things go into that dollar. Our major departments, they're distributed, approximately $8 million goes to Public Works. Our wonderful Penfield Public Library is nearing $2 million in appropriations, and Recreation Department is just under $1 million for next year. So that's kind of where a lot of our focus is for keeping the residents not only safe through Public Works, but culture and recreation as well. Our taxable valuation for 2020 is just at over $3.2 billion. That is an increase of 1.42% over the taxable value for 2019. So As you can see, it's a steady increase in the town of planned progress. We are still very affordable and also very attractive to people to build new homes and also invest in existing properties. The tentative general governmental budget, which is really what generates the tax rate per thousand, that consists of the general fund, the highway fund, and the library fund. The total for general governmental is $17.7 million. The revenue estimated to collect for that to offset that cost is $8.1 million. We'll have a fund balance contribution in the general fund of $605,000. That does include $290,000 from the equipment reserve fund, which this town board has been very active each year in moving funds into the restricted equipment fund, which is exactly to do this, to be able to pay for equipment as needed. So that's been very successful. So we'll be buying the 2 large trucks next year with that money. And then, as you can see, the amount raised by taxes is just under $9 million. With that assessed value of $3.2 billion, it gives us a tax rate of $2.78 per thousand. That is flat for 2020. That is the same rate we had in 2019. That being said, that for an average household of $190,000 here in the town of Penfield, that tax bill for your town services is $528.20 for next year. For non-tax revenues, that would be our departmental income, any assistance we receive from the state, the county, grants, and things of that nature. Those total revenues are $8,258,725. That is an increase from 2019 as far as estimated revenues, about 3.2%. Again, this board and the supervisor tend to go on a conservative basis for revenue, simply because that's the side of the equation we cannot control. We focus on controlling the costs on the expense side, because that's the side we really have the impact on. As far as our special districts for 2020, our sanitary sewer operational cost will be $46.18 per unit, and the debt service portion of that is $57.06. That results in $103.24. That is actually a decrease of $3.26 from 2019. As I mentioned, as we pay off debt service, although we do allocate a bit more towards the maintenance side, which would make sense. As we pay off debt, we want to make sure we're taking care of the things that we bonded and paid for. So, but it also, we're able to lower the burden to the taxpayers as well by doing this. Carrying on with special districts, our special drainage district rate is $3.90. Typical household would pay $38.99. That is a 2-cent increase from 2019. We do have several stormwater regulations that impact us as far as what we need to accomplish here to maintain our stormwater system, so that is a slight increase for next year. Our lighting rate, actually, thanks to the new solar array, is actually going down for 2020. It goes from just about 6 cents to a little less than 5 cents per thousand. Therefore, a typical household is paying $9.03. That is a savings of $2.18 per household for next year. And then also in the intensified lighting district, that $24.04 per parcel reflects a 55-cent decrease from 2019 as well, because of the solar array that we're able to generate energy for town services. The town, once again, will be collecting on behalf of the two ambulance districts, rather, that serve the town of Penfield. We collect the money on their behalf, and we pass it on to them. We do not, obviously, keep any of that. The ambulance district number 1, Penfield Volunteer Ambulance, the rate per thousand is expected to remain flat at approximately 2 cents, which is $4.03 per average homeowner. That's that $190,000 house that I spoke of earlier. Ambulance District number 2, which serves the northeast quadrant, that rate goes up a tiny bit, and it's at 2 cents, and that is actually a $3.93 per average homeowner for providing life-saving services to residents of Penfield. This slide is just a summary of the tentative operating budget overall. It is inclusive of general governmental as well as all our special districts. So our total appropriations proposed for 2020 are $20,671,392. Revenue that is anticipated to be collected, $8,258,725. We take reserve fund balance, that's what I spoke of with for our trucks in the highway department, $290,000, and then fund balance in general governmental and in sewer and in library, we will be contributing $380,340. The resulting tax levy is $11,742,327. This is reflective of a very fiscally sound budget that will continue to provide the day-to-day services that the town of Penfield residents deserve and expect, and very happy to present this tentative budget.
Okay, Barbara, thank you very much. Again, I'll indicate that this budget message and the budget itself are officially up, and I've been notified by our website team that the link to the budget is under quick links, and it is active, so folks will have the opportunity to see the presentation and also see the tentative budget. Tentative budget will become our preliminary budget, and again, we'll hold an official public hearing on October 2nd here in this room at 7 p.m. I'd like to recognize our department heads for all their work. We do have the librarian, Bernadette Brinkman. Thank you, Bonnie, for your support, as always, of the library. As Barbara indicated, the budget is made up of three components, the library piece, the public works side of things, and then, or highway, and the general budget. So, Barbara, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We look forward to the formal public hearing, a little bit more detailed at the October 2nd budget. All right, thank you. We'll move on with the agenda. We have communications and announcements, and I will recognize Mr. Quinn, please. Oh, excuse me, I think I will recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The next Passport Night in Penfield will be Thursday, October 3rd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at our town hall right here in this room. Individuals in need of a new or updated passport are welcome to attend. This event comes through the partnership with my clerk's office of Monroe, or the clerk's office of Monroe County and the town of Penfield. And for general information on routine or expedited passport applications, go to monroecounty.gov or contact me at 340-8629. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, everyone. The American Red Cross is consistently holding blood drives throughout Monroe County. The next drive in Penfield will be on Saturday, September 28th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the East Side YMCA. Scheduling a donation appointment can help save up to 3 lives during an emergency. Donors must have proof of age to ensure they meet the minimum age requirements. Walk-ins are welcome, but you can schedule an appointment by going to redcrossblood.org or by calling 1-800-733-2767. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Metzer.
I have a few announcements this evening. Penfield Rotary and our community bikes are again partnering with the town to hold a community bike drop-off at the community center. On Saturday, October 5th, come to 1985 Baird Road between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. to donate your used bikes to Penfield Rotary. Receipts will be provided for all donations. Our community bikes will repair and deliver the bikes to those in the Rochester community who depend on them for transportation to get to work, school, or training sessions, as well as for recreational use. Information on this event is available at penfieldrotary.org. Also, the town will be holding its annual Recycling Day event on Saturday, October 5th at the Department of Public Works facility. From 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., Penfield residents can bring metals, household appliances, brush, clothing and linens, or documents for secure destruction to 1607 Jackson Road. Please note that no electronics, leaves, or grass will be accepted at this event. Information on Recycling Day and other town services is available at penfield.org. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I have one announcement. Next Tuesday, the 24th, in this room at 7 p.m., there will be a public information meeting on the comprehensive plan update process for 2020. Town staff will explain the update process, present the work of the 2020 Comprehensive Plan Committee to date and solicit residents' thoughts and ideas of future planning goals. Committee members will be in attendance to listen to and note residents' input for discussion during the course of that meeting. All residents, businesses, and organizations are invited to attend. This meeting will be live via Penfield TV. Public input page is available now at penfield.org for those residents who are unable to attend that meeting on the 24th. And if you would like to offer up some input, there is a form that is available through October 11th, from now through October 11th, via the quick links menu. Comments will be accepted also by email to planning@penfield.org or through snail mail at Planning Department, 3100 Atlantic Avenue, 14526. All information regarding the 2020 Comprehensive Plan update is online. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The Shepherd Home in Penfield is partnering with Bauman's Farm Market to hold a mum sale fundraiser. Today through October 31st, individuals can stop by Bauman's at 1340 5 Mile Line Road to pick up a mum for $10. Mention to a staff member that your purchase is for the Shepherd Home and $5 will be contributed to the fundraiser. The sale helps continue the mission of the Shepherd Home to provide comfort and compassion care for members of our community with a terminal illness. Details about the Shepherd Home can be found at shepherdhome.org. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to public participation and 2 opportunities to address the board on any matter at this time and then again at the end of the agenda. You can do that one of 3 ways. If you're here in the auditorium, you can address the board by coming to the podium. You can log on at penfield.org, or you can call in at 340-8771. And I'll ask our clerk, has anyone signed up to speak, please, this evening?
Yes, they have. Marie Lorman.
And again, if you did not sign up to speak and would like to address the board, we will get to all of those folks after those that have signed up. So welcome.
I'm Marie Lorman, and I live at 5 Austin Drive, and I'm on the corner of Austin and Penfield Road. And I've been there for 5 years. I've seen the traffic increase over those years, and since I'm on the corner, there's a lot of noise and traffic constantly going by. And after the addition of Allison Apartments there, we've noticed quite a few more cars, more traffic, and now I'm concerned to discover that there's a huge parcel of land off of Old Penfield Road that is for sale. I don't know if it's sold, but I'd like to know if you can tell me how bad can that be? Could that be neighborhoods with homes and townhouses and apartments, and will all of the traffic be exiting onto my road?
So what I can tell you is, yes, that's being sold for the second time. So the first time it went from Dolomite Products, was sold, went up for auction, that was not purchased. Then a family came back and actually acquired that property and have made some improvements to it. They built a lodge, if you will, there. They're currently looking to sell that. They're looking to sell that to preserve the property, but not to build it out with homes. It is zoned residential, but again, they're looking for that property to be more preserved rather than to be developed. So now you know as much as I know about that property at this point. I did hear that they were thinking of making an application to the Zoning Board of Appeals sometime in October. And for that, it was to at least define what their plans for preservation of that property would be.
Okay. And right now, the only exit is to Old
Penfield Road. There's the new gates that were installed there, electronic gates, and that's the only access. They do own property all the way over to Blossom Road.
So possibly there could be an exit in the future to Blossom? No.
I would only say this, that there's nothing that of any indication that there would be any entrance or exit off in Blossom at this time.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, absolutely. I would say stay tuned to our website. Again, the October meeting is the third Thursday of October, and we put all of our agendas online. So feel free to at least take a look at that. Feel free to call my office and just call the supervisor's office, and as we get anything, we can update you accordingly. Absolutely.
And that's the zoning board of appeals meeting, is
Right.
what he's
Yep.
referencing.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, zoning board of appeals. Okay. Amy?
Sean Leclerc.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, how's everybody doing? My name's Sean LeClaire. I live at 55 Rossbrook Drive. My wife Alyssa is home with our 18-month-old who had an early bedtime tonight, but I am here with a couple of other neighbors and friends, that's Sean, Abby, and TJ. The purpose of us being here is to ask the town to construct a sidewalk on Rossbrook Drive. If you'll indulge me, I wrote a letter on behalf of the residents of Rossbrook Drive. The purpose of this letter, written on behalf of the residents and homeowners of Rossbrook Drive, is to urge the town of Penfield to construct a sidewalk on Rossbrook Drive. The street consists of 21 single-family homes comprising of mostly families with children, many of whom are very young. Over the past 10 years, residential development in the town has increased, as has the amount of traffic using Browncroft Boulevard. As a result, the street has seen an increase in traffic flow as it is utilized as a thoroughfare between Panorama Trail and Browncroft Boulevard. At this time, the residents feel unsafe using the roadway in a manner that would be consistent with the use by the residents of any standard neighborhood. Examples of activities that residents are reluctant to do are walking, riding bicycles, walking family pets, and allowing children to walk from one neighbor's house to the other. The posted speed limit on Rossbrook Drive is 25 miles an hour. The speed of the cars using the road is not often the concern, but it is whether the appropriate speed is being used when there are pedestrians in or near the roadway. This is not an issue that law enforcement can rectify, but it is one that must be addressed by either limiting the traffic and/or by offering a safe manner for pedestrians to use the roadway. In addition to its very close proximity to a busy thoroughfare in Browncroft Boulevard, Rossbrook Drive is also very close to Bay Trail Middle School and Scribner Elementary. Other schools are also in relative close proximity. Many homeowners with school-age children have expressed their concerns over their children waiting for the bus at the west end of Rossbrook Drive near Panorama Trail. The pickup and drop-off times are often close enough to rush hour that the children are forced to use people's lawns and driveways for safe places to wait for the bus and to walk home after drop-off. During the winter months, with snow-covered lawns and high snow embankments at the roadside, there are limited safe spaces to wait for the bus and walk home while commuters use the road as a shortcut. The homeowners are requesting the town of Penfield rectify about 1,520 feet of concrete sidewalks, approximately 5 feet in width to accommodate safe pedestrian travel. We are requesting the sidewalk be constructed on the southern side of Rossbrook Drive, which we feel is the flatter and least likely burdensome side for the town. If the town determines that the northern side of the road is more suitable, the residents would be agreeable. Please see the attached petition as a demonstration of the residents' overwhelming support for this project. We hope that the town agrees with the concerns noted and adds Rossbrook Drive to its sidewalk plan.
Sean, thank you. You have that so that you can present it to the clerk tonight?
Yes.
Excellent. And she will make sure that the board gets copies of that. Sean, how many folks or residents sign that, if you would, please?
20 of the 21.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
And there's about 13 of the 21 have kids under the age of 16.
I was just on Rossbrook Drive, and I imagine you're on the stretch where you have done your best with some signs, people to slow down.
That's kind of what we've
Yep.
resorted to.
Plan
with
A,
signs
it's always a
and-
good plan A. I was just there yesterday.
Yeah.
And I noticed those, and I noticed the number, and I figured that it's a first plan, but certainly it's not as good as sidewalks.
Right.
I would just like to add, Sean, I appreciate you doing due diligence with identifying the side of the road that the residents would prefer. over my experience as a town board member is sometimes neighbors talk about sidewalks, and then the decision gets, well, what side is that sidewalk going to be on? And then all of a sudden you see neighbors turning on each other saying, I don't want it on my side, put it on your side. No, I don't want it on my side, put it on your side. So the fact that you've taken that extra step to identify and talk to the residents about putting it on the south side, which I believe is the preferred side, just makes it much more easier to actually come to the decision and look for funding in order to do that, knowing that the residents are pretty much unified on that street as to which side the sidewalk would go on. So thank you for going that extra step. Appreciate it.
And to have that percentage of residents too, because we have had experiences where it's kind of more of a patchwork of desire, and since we have to get easements before any sidewalk construction can take place, sometimes, plans fall through or intent falls through when you've got neighbors who aren't cooperative with each other.
Hopefully, we don't have that.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've got your I's dotted and T's crossed. So the next steps, when we receive petitions, the board will put it on a future agenda. We can keep you posted. Is there a phone number? Don't
Yes.
give it to me, because everybody's watching, and unless you want all that. But if there isn't a phone number or email address on that, or if you wouldn't mind just giving that to the clerk, we'll make sure that when it's on an agenda that we make you aware, and then we'd ask you maybe to cascade that out to your neighbors.
Great, thank you.
All right?
Appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you for
so
coming.
much.
Coming.
Thanks. I'd ask our clerk, is there anyone else that has signed up to speak?
And no, there is.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience? Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the board on any matter? Okay, we'll continue on with our agenda. There is a second opportunity to address the board after our resolutions by function. I will ask the board, is there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? No. Seeing none. We do have the minutes of the August 21st, 2019 meeting before us, and I would entertain a motion of approval of those minutes.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any discussion regarding those minutes? No. Seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Metzler,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Other than the petition we received tonight, since our last meeting, has the board received, or the town attorney or town clerk received any petitions? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to resolution by function, starting with law and finance, please.
Budget amendments and transfers in the general fund.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the registration and attendance for programs at the rec department require an increase in appropriations from program fees collected, whereas the building department head requires a transfer in the safety inspection accounts for costs associated with property maintenance. The town board desires to have an up-to-date budget in relation to current appropriations and revenues. Be it resolved that the 2019 budget be amended and transfers be approved. From under revenue for excursion, sports, credit card receipts for $20,000, appropriation of excursion, sports, credit card receipts for $20,000, transfer of rec administrative part-time and safety inspection full-time of $14,000 to senior program part-time and safety inspection property maintenance for a total of $14,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any discussions? Seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Metzler,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorization to maintain properties and assess the charges to the 2020 property tax bills.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas on December 16th, 2015, the town board of the town of Penfield adopted a resolution to enact Local Law 3 entitled Local Law to Provide for the Codification of Local Laws Ordinance and Certain Resolutions of the Town of Penfield into Municipal Code to be designated the Code of the Town of Penfield. Whereas the purpose of this code in the town includes, among other things, to provide for the safety, health, protection, and general welfare of persons and properties within the town by requiring the maintenance of all such properties within the town of Penfield. Whereas the owners of 35 Canterbury Trail, have failed to maintain the property in accordance with the applicable code requirements, which is resulting in safety concerns, health protection, and general welfare of surrounding persons and properties. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby authorizes the Building and Code Compliance Inspector to have the property properly maintained. Be it further resolved that the Town Board authorizes that all costs of said maintenance and any necessary subsequent maintenance during the 2019 season be charged to the 2020 property tax bill of that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes. Approval of issuance of a conditional use permit to allow a sit-down and take-out restaurant at 1837 Penfield Road.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas an application has been received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of a conditional use permit of the code to allow a sit-down restaurant in 1837 Penfield Road in the Four Corners zoning district. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Penfield held a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on September 4th, 2019, at 7 p.m. on said date to consider the application and to hear all persons interested in the question of this conditional use permit. Now therefore be it resolved that the applicant's request for a conditional use permit to allow a sit-down restaurant at 1837 Penfield Road is granted subject to the following conditions. For the record, Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to note that there are roughly 9 conditions. All 9 conditions are in accordance to the Four Corners zoning district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Further discussion?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would just like to thank the applicant, the owners of Perry's Pizza for coming into Rochester. I mean, I think we vetted this out very thoroughly in our work sessions. The individual had multiple towns and multiple locations to choose where to put his restaurant, and he chose Penfield in the Four Corners. It looks like they will be hiring a handful of employees. You know, maybe it might be high school or college age students or adults, helping out with employment and helping out with some vitality in that community. He's committed to this town board to do some renovations to the property to kind of restore and bring back a little bit more of a historical aesthetic to the exterior. And I certainly am supportive of this application, certainly would lobby my other town board members to be supportive and look forward to getting them up and running. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. And just to confirm, the applicant, Mr. Perry, indicated that he would be looking to bring 20-plus new jobs to that location.
Great, thank you. That's quite a bit.
All right, seeing no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes. Setting a public hearing to consider a conditional use permit to allow a hair salon at 1782 Penfield Road.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas an application has been received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of a conditional use permit to allow a hair salon at 1784 Penfield Road in the Four Corners zoning district. Be it resolved that the Town Board is best suited to act as lead agency in the meaning of the state's Environmental Quality Review Act, or SEQR. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield shall hold a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on October 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m. on said date to consider said application and to hear all persons interested in this conditional use permit. Be it resolved that the copy of this resolution certified by the town clerk shall be published at least once in the official newspaper of the town. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Discussion. This property is located behind what was formerly known as Yellow Rose Cafe. On the bistro, there's a building back there that has been somewhat empty for some time, and there's a new business coming into that location. Okay, so seeing no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorize the supervisor to renew a facility use agreement with the Greater Rochester Chapter of the American Red Cross.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the Town of Penfield desires to renew a facility agreement with the Greater Rochester Chapter of the American Red Cross to authorize the use of the Penfield Community Center at 1985 Baird Road for Mass Care Emergency Disaster Services Center. Now be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign a facility agreement with the Greater Rochester Chapter of the American Red Cross in a form approved by the town attorney for emergency disaster use of the Penfield Community Center located at 1985 Baird Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn. Aye. 4 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign a service agreement with UniFirst Corporation for the procurement of uniforms and uniform-related products and services.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas proposals were sought and requested from the following vendors to furnish the Department of Public Works with quotes to provide and launder uniforms and uniform-related products: Alsco, Aramac, Cintas, and UniFirst. And whereas UniFirst Corporation currently holds a national contract for uniforms and uniform-related products and services, and whereas the proposal provided by UniFirst Corporation meets the requirements set forth in the current CSEA union contract, and whereas the term of the contract shall run from November 1st, 2019 through October 31st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign a service agreement with UniFirst Corporation for the procurement of uniforms and uniform-related products and services. This resolution and the proposal submitted by UniFirst Corporation shall constitute the contract. This agreement is to be reviewed and approved by the town attorney.
Great, thank you. Further discussion. See no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Metzler.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
4 ayes.
That brings us to old business. Is there any old business to come before the board this evening? Seeing none, is there any new business to come before the board this evening? Again, seeing none, this is the second opportunity to address the board on any matter. Seeing no one in the audience and no one online, and there being no further business to come before the board this evening, the September 18th, 2019 legislative session of the town board will stand adjourned at 7:37 p.m. Thank you to everyone that participated. Thank you to Penfield TV.